Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Super Lunch Bros podcast, episode number 46. I am Brendan.
And I'm Nate.
And we're disappointed.
uh,
It's not just about, the wins and the losses on the card, really. It's about the overall performances. There were some good fights on the card.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way some fights ended. The judges' scoring was all over the place. It didn't really cost anybody a win, I don't believe, but it was just a mess.
I think just a lot of the people that I wanted to see go out there and perform either just didn't happen or just something.
Yeah, Thiago Santos. Yeah, he didn't do it. Yeah.
Thiago Santos. I mean, even Cruz early on. He got the win, but
I thought he looked all right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about UFC 259. The main event, Israel Adesanya fighting Jan Blackowicz. God, everybody pronounces it different, and Polish I don't know the Polish power, Jan. All right, so Adesanya ends up losing by decision. I agree with the decision, although I don't agree with the judges' scorecards. Some of them were all over the place.
Just wonky.
So the first round was Adesanya by a mile. He distance controlled, did everything he wanted to do, touching up Jan. Didn't really land with any power, but Jan did nothing to Izzy. So second round, I don't know what the commentators were watching, but Jan was outstriking Izzy. And they were saying, like, oh, man, Izzy's so good at this and that. And it's like, you guys are blinded by something. You're not seeing what's really going on out there because, like, when they finally pulled up I saw it as it was happening. And then when they finally pulled up the unofficial strike count, Jan was ahead. Yep. I'm like, yes, because he's outlanding Izzy. Third round was close. The third round was close, but it was more, I think Izzy had more because they both landed big. But Izzy appeared to stun Jan a little bit in that round. And
Jan did say after he got a little surprised by the power that Izzy had behind it. I think that might have been the round where Jan really felt that.
It's also weird because he found out, he was like, yeah, I was expecting him to be faster and not hit so hard. But he was like, it was the opposite. He's like, he was a little slower, but he hit a lot harder. Fourth round, this is where Blackowicz, really started to pull away with his size. It's a big difference maker. So the takedowns in the fourth round, evened up the fight, made it 2-2 in my eyes. Nobody's really held down Izzy like that for an extended period of time. Izzy's explanation afterwards was, like he was trying to do and he knew what he had to do. It's just his legs were tired and he couldn't do it.
And there was a lot of leg kicks that happened early on in the fight. I don't know how much that actually attributed or.
Yeah, and he acknowledged it afterwards too that Jan, the size was a factor. He's like, he didn't make excuses. He just Jan was big. He was strong. The grappling took a lot out of Jan's cardio. So the fifth round was much more sloppy, and he came out super flat in the fifth. And Izzy also looked tired, but if that round stays on its feet, I mean, I think Jan still would have got the decision, not in my eyes, but he still would have got the decision on the judges' scorecards because some assholes gave him two of those or three of the first four rounds.
All of them gave him the first round, I think.
Which is bananas to me. Yeah. The dude was on his back foot and got outstruck. And even if he didn't, he was not landing the more significant strikes.
One of them gave him the first round and didn't give him the second round, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's stupid. And then, they're kind of going back and forth, sloppy fighting, both landing bigger shots, but, they're tired. And then just a good time takedown. And for the final 2 minutes, Jan was on top, and that gave him the win. And honestly, I think they got the decision correct that Jan put on a great performance. I think what we said before the fight came to fruition in that this meant nothing.
Yeah. When it was over, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, great. And then he's like, yeah, Glover. One of my favorite things that Jan said after the fight, he was like, yeah, I think Glover's next. He's earned it, and he's a little bit older, so I don't think he's going to get this opportunity again. We should fight now while he's still in his prime, like the tail end of his prime. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Someone's
you.
looking out for Glover.
It's not even just Glover, just in the UFC in general.
Mhm.
Age isn't a factor. It's always about, UFC loyalty and public perception versus, for like pay-per-view sales and things like that. But if you're an older fighter and you're on a 6-fight win streak in any division, and those include some ranked names, like this is your last chance, pretty much. And I like that Jan was acknowledging that. He was like, yeah, he's older and he's probably not going to get this opportunity again. Let's go. Great fight by Jan. I think he looked very impressive. His awkward striking definitely took a toll on Izzy, and I think Izzy needs to go back down to middleweight, like where he belongs. So
Where he should have never left, probably.
I think this fight happened too soon. Not for weight or anything else. I just mean for hype. There was very little publicity around this fight, and I don't think it was a bad fight. It's just
It wasn't the right one for really anyone's career.
no.
Like, yeah, it maybe. I can't even say that it helped Jan all that much, other than maybe getting him a little bit more name recognition. But it was against someone that wasn't even in his weight class.
Yeah, there's always going to be an asterisk next to it. Is like, his first title defense was against a middleweight, and if Jan ever loses, the belt to someone, they'll be like, well, he never really held the belt for that long.
Yep.
It just
like if Glover takes it next, it's gonna be like, oh well, he never defended it against.
Yeah, a light heavyweight,
and he never actually beat the champ because, he got it as a, vacated belt.
This whole card led up to this, and it was just there's a lot of wackiness. So in the co-main event, we had Amanda Nunes doing Amanda Nunes things against Megan Anderson.
Not much we have to say about it. I mean, we kind of talked for the most part that 9 out of 10 fights,
Amanda Nunes is going 99 out of 100 fights goes that way, and it's just there was a small % chance that Megan can keep it on the feet, avoid the big strike, like just take the big strikes early on, but that's not what happened. She got caught with a strike, didn't have her wits about her. Nunes gets her back and then weasels her way into like an armbar situation, and like that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Great fight. Amanda Nunes is really good, and I'm not shitting on her. It's just I haven't seen her in a good fight since she's become the champion, other than when she fought Valentina.
And it didn't have any ramifications for the UFC. And we talked about that in the preview.
This division doesn't exist.
She beat someone. It's not a deep division. It's just a division that was made for Cyborg, and that now just still is there. So it's unnecessary.
Last thing I'll say about this is I think Nunes needs to stop fighting for a while and let the division like build up some publicity. Maybe she can. And I'm not talking about featherweight. The featherweight should go away. I think bantamweight has enough people in it to make some noise. Maybe throw Valentina back in the mix.
That's what I was gonna say. I think if you throw Valentina in the mix, you at least give the rest of the division a little bit of space to build up someone for her to fight after Valentina. If she beats Valentina in
I think
another fight,
she has a good chance of beating Shevchenko.
But I mean, like, if there's anyone that has a chance to beat her standing in the UFC right now,
it's Valentina. Yeah. So that was our second title fight. Second title fight of the night. Co-main event for some reason. I don't agree with it. Anyway, so our first title fight of the night was at bantamweight with Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. I thought Sterling was going to win. A couple of the judges' scorecards had Sterling up by 1 point or down, and then anyway, the fourth round with 30 seconds left in the round, Sterling is clearly down on his knee, right? Before this, so let's say 40 seconds left in the round. Sterling's hands are down on the mat, his knee's down, he's down. He lifts his hands up, but his knee is still down. Piotr's corner tells him, go, 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 or yes, hit him, kick him, or whatever. And he throws an illegal knee and rocks Aljo.
Hard, clean, illegal knee.
Okay, I've been talking nonstop. So, what was your takeaway from this whole situation?
Probably worst case scenario. And here's my takeaway, because it's one of the things that we've never really seen before in a championship fight, at least something that blatantly illegal that affected the fight in that manner. And here's my argument for possibly why it happened. If you go back and you listen to us break down this fight previously, we kind of both agreed on one thing, and that's Piotr,
how dare you? He will come to your house and knee you illegally in the head. How dare you, sir?
You could probably do it legally or illegally. It's assault, so it's going to be illegal.
Yo, that's assault.
Yeah. So, no longer champion. He had a pretty quick rise up, but he still had enough MMA experience to know what an illegal knee is. Like that.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know where that, you can say caught up in the moment. You can say whatever you want to say about it. It's still an illegal knee that completely changed the outcome of the fight. And when you get an illegal strike to that level, to where, all right, the other person absolutely can no longer continue in the fight off an illegal strike, like, you hate to see it in a championship match, but I'd almost...
Do you think Aljamain was backing out of the fight because he was afraid that he was going to lose? Not directly because of that. Like, he knew he was...
No.
You don't think that? Okay.
No.
How about...
Do
you think...
Not with a 5-round fight in Aljamain. I don't think that factored in.
Do you think
I think he thought if he went back in there, he was going to immediately go down because of how rocked he was.
Do you think that he overplayed it? That he played it up because the gravity of the situation?
Not necessarily. I think I'm going to say this from like a human observation perspective. It is impossible to actually attribute what emotions and what feelings and what actions make sense for a person when you're trying to project onto them. I think we can call sports flops how we see them in certain senses, especially in like soccer, basketball, whatever, but we're talking an illegal knee to the head. It's not like he got a groin strike and just overplayed it when it really hit his inner thigh. Like he got clean hit and rocked in the head.
All right. So this is what I think happens a lot. All right. So obviously there is some sort of theatrics that comes with taking an illegal shot. And I don't think that it's voluntary every time. I think involuntarily, when you take an illegal shot and it causes a pause in the action, you no longer keep your game face. You no longer are trying to fool your opponent into thinking whatever happened didn't hurt you. Therefore, you let all your walls down and you let the true emotions or the true feelings, the true amount of discombobulation you might have just wash over you. And that's actually what's going on. It's just that we're so used to that during a fight, when you get rocked, like you're just back up and back in it. When there's that adrenaline dump and everything pauses and everything stops, like I think we see more of like true human nature when it's not in the middle of the action. Yeah. So I think that's a little bit of...
that. It's like with a fighter that gets knocked out post-fight.
Yes.
Or a fighter gets like a really bad TKO post-fight. Like no one judges how long it takes them to get up, what their actions are, how they're speaking, how they're talking.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So this is my takeaway on this situation. Like you, I hated it. I thought it sucked. Yeah. Not for either fighter specifically. I just mean the whole situation. I don't think Piotr was trying to illegally throw a knee. I think he saw the arms come up. His corner gave him bad advice, and he blindly just threw the knee. Right? Mistakes can happen. I would say this mistake cost him his belt, his title, and a chance at victory, in the UFC. Judging by the way the fight was going, Aljo still looked a little fresh. So there were 30 seconds left in that fourth round. Without that illegal strike, I still think Piotr's coming away with the victory. If the fight were to continue, and Aljo, obviously he's getting a point deducted for that round. Aljo could be, because he was ahead on one judge's scorecards, we could have been looking at a split decision victory for Aljamain Sterling if the fifth round went Aljo's way, right? It could have been that at the end of that round, someone, he lands a couple strikes and whatever happens. All of this being said, I think the right decision moving forward here is just an immediate rematch, run it back. Let's see, how both these guys handle fighting each other again. And then after that, then you bring in people like after TJ comes back, if he gets a win, maybe he can get a shot. We've got other people waiting for, you got Corey Sandhagen, who after watching this fight, I think is a better matchup for Petr Yan than Aljo was. I think Sandhagen's a little bit better matchup.
All right. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I don't agree with the run it back. Because
it was an illegal shot. Okay.
And not just necessarily, all right, there's different levels to illegal shots. When it's an illegal shot that causes brain trauma versus an illegal shot that's just like, oh, yeah, that hit me in the nards really hard. Like, it's an illegal shot in a very serious situation.
You hit me in the nards.
Yeah. Illegal shot in a very serious situation and during a championship fight. Like, I would sideline Jan from a just automatic rematch back for the belt and be like, and you got to prove to us that you can show up to a championship fight and not tank it because of your actions. Because he did tank a championship fight. And basically, be it accidental, like however that happened, it still did put a giant damper on the entire pay-per-view event.
Yeah, I guess I should have. I just didn't get around to watching Dana White's reactions to everything. But generally speaking, he's very one-sided when it comes to things like this. Mm-hmm. Like he's either in the corner of the guy who stopped. He's like, why would he continue? He got kneed on the ground. The dude threw an illegal knee. That guy's an idiot. Yeah. Like he doesn't deserve to. He doesn't deserve to win that fight after throwing a knee like that. Or you get stuff like, Lionheart, Anthony Smith, right? When he's fighting John Jones, they could have stopped that fight. He could have quit, and then he gets the belt. And but he didn't. He decided to continue because he didn't want to win that way. And Dana White praises him for not stopping. Like I've seen him criticize people for stopping fights. Like, oh, he could have continued. He just didn't want to be in there anymore. We're going to run it back because, clearly that guy was up. So I didn't watch his reaction. That's my mistake. But
I hate to call it victim blaming, but that is kind of funny. From a UFC
regardless of the strike, if you take an illegal strike, and we didn't say this. Mark Smith said he's down. He said he was down. He was like, he's down. Like 10 seconds before the illegal strike happened.
So and then verbal warning.
Yeah, verbal warning, like not to knee or kick the guy in the head. And then on top of that, when his hands came up, he sat there for a second. It wasn't like immediately his hands came up and he threw the knee, right? He waited until he got instructions. So like he had plenty of time, and I know things happen really fast. But he had plenty of time to contemplate what he was doing. Aljo wasn't fighting to get back up. It wasn't crazy. There was only 30 seconds left in the round. I think Sterling was kind of content with losing that round or letting it be.
Or maybe trying to pull guard or something. That's what I thought he was getting ready to do.
Either way, like there was plenty of time for him to make a decision, and he made the wrong one.
Yep.
It was just awful.
Yeah, and all right. The other thing I didn't like about it, I don't necessarily agree that Aljamain should just get the belt as a result of an illegal strike.
I think it's better this way. Even if I agree with you that it doesn't feel right, I think it's better for the division for somebody to have the belt instead of for the belt to be vacant. It's the same thing that happens when someone leaves or retires or goes to another division. Leaving the belt vacant just leaves the division hanging, and you don't have a satisfactory handover of the belt.
Well, here's what I think should have happened. No contest. Belt vacated. Jan does not get an immediate rematch, but Aljamain gets an immediate title shot against someone else.
If it was an unintentional foul and it was turned into a no contest, I agree with you. But it was deemed an intentional foul, and by the rules of
I know.
with that commission, that means that regardless of who's up or what time or what frame, I don't know. But basically, if it's an intentional foul that causes if the foul causes a sequence that ends the fight, then the victim of that foul gets the win automatically. I think Aljo made the right decision. I don't think he should have gone back and
I do too.
And that was stupid.
If he made that self-assessment, and if he didn't feel like his cognitive abilities were there to finish the fight, the fight's over.
I mean, that fight was...
You took an illegal knee.
That fight was razor close as it was, and now you're compromised from a strike that shouldn't be allowed to be thrown. Like, if he kneed you while you were standing up and you were compromised by that, you have to live with those consequences. Yeah. But you have the time to realize, like, hey, maybe this fight was really close, and I don't know if I can keep up after a strike like that. Like, I'm going to end up going into the 5th round compromised, and it's going to be worse for me.
Yeah, I think he made the right decision too.
Me too. Yep.
Dana White or anyone else says, like, in that situation, with how hard he worked to get there to.
Yeah, you could also see that he was upset
changed by that. Yeah,
he was upset about it.
He didn't look happy about getting the belt.
No. Yeah, I mean, it was a good fight too. That's the thing is, like, it was a good fight with a anticlimactic ending. That's all.
Literally the only fight either of us were looking forward to on this card for the most part.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the other one that I was really looking forward to. All right. So before that, we had Islam Makhachev defeating Drew Dober, a submission with in the 3rd round. Drew Dober is an excellent striker, and his grappling has gotten a lot better. But Islam Makhachev is on another level when it comes to grappling. He just controlled Drew Dober the entire fight. Really Khabib level of domination when it came to ground control. So, all right, the other fight that we were both very excited to see, light heavyweights. Alexander Rakic defeating Thiago Santos by decision. Thiago Santos never opened up.
Yeah.
I never saw him throw the big strike that he usually does. I mean, there was a couple where he let go big winging punches, and like right at the end of the fight, he threw a spinning heel kick. I don't know if it's his knees or, coming off of the Glover loss or, ring rust or, age.
Or if it was just the fighters he was fighting before at the time he fought them. Like, not to downplay Thiago Santos from before the John Jones fight, but I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah, this wasn't the fight we were expecting because these are both very explosive guys, and they just never really unloaded.
And maybe they just both respect each other's.
That could be
like similar to what we'd see with a heavyweight fight. If we got two explosive knockout artists, and neither of them wants to be each other's highlight reel.
Yeah, I mean that happens. It's just when we were both looking forward to something like this, it was just disappointing to see a fight go like that. And then, a lackluster decision for a fight where you're expecting fireworks. That's all. Prelims, there were some actually. Okay, so the prelims had some really good fights. Mm-hmm. Dominic Cruz fighting Casey Kenny on the featured prelim fight. Excellent fight. Dominic Cruz gets the decision. I think a split decision
with some
somehow.
Wonky scorecards.
One judge had it 29-28 Cruz. The other judge had it 29-28 Kenny. And then the final judge had it 30-27 for Cruz. The 30-27, I could see it happening. The 29-28 for Kenny, what 2 rounds did you give him? The second round was Kenny's, right? If any round. The first round, all Cruz. Last round, all Cruz. The middle round, Kenny won that one. I just don't, whatever. I thought Cruz looked excellent, especially the amount of stuff that he's gone through. He looks a little slower. Obviously, he's 35, 36 years old now. Kenny's a younger up-and-coming fighter. Cruz just keeps his name relevant, and even after the fight, he's not even calling out other fighters. He's calling out, I think, either a promoter or a manager who's kind of doing people dirty, and he wants to have a charity fight.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, so I don't know what all that was about. Seems very strange, but I think Dominic Cruz, his aspirations are no longer the belt. It just doesn't seem like that's what he wants anymore.
No, Dominic Cruz, Logan Paul, that's what he's going for.
And I think he would destroy that kid. Bantamweight fight, we had Kyler Phillips
versus Young Zedong.
Song Yadong.
Song Yadong.
So Yadong hits hard. He had a good third round, but he just got outstruck in the first 2 rounds and couldn't make up the difference and didn't knock out Phillips, and that's what he needed in the third round. Good fight, though. It was a fun fight to watch. We got old man Joseph Benavidez losing to Askar Askarov, who is undefeated still. Mm-hmm. He has won no contest. He also, I didn't know this, during the fight they mentioned he's 40% deaf in one ear and 70% deaf in the other.
I didn't catch that.
So he is very skilled, great grappler, and even on the feet, he was able to keep up with Benavidez. Benavidez, again, just like the fight that followed, he had a good third round, tried to make up the difference. It just wasn't enough. Askar Askarov's very good, and his grappling is also really good. He's going to be a tough flyweight for people to beat. He's just Joseph Benavidez isn't what he used to be, but he's still a top tier fighter, and he was able to handily beat him.
One of those judges' scorecards had 30-26.
Yeah, don't ask. I don't know. They're giving out 10-8s like it was candy.
Yeah.
Which is okay if you're consistent, but it's whatever.
You're good at your job. All
right. Rogerio Bontorin versus Kai Kara France. This fight was incredible.
End of the round TKO.
That was incredible.
Yep.
Bontorin was on Kai Kara France's back for, I would say, 4 minutes, maybe 3.5, 3 minutes and 45 seconds, something like that. He had multiple rear naked choke attempts. He was close to finishing them multiple times. In fact, DC kept saying, "Oh, this fight's over. This fight's over. This fight's over. Oh, now it's over. Oh, now it's over. He's in there. Oh, he's deep in there now. Oh, it's over. It's over." And
lo and behold,
France just kept fighting it off. With 30 seconds in the round, he manages to get up on the feet, catches him once with a big right hook, catches him again with a right hook, and then an uppercut. Like he wobbles Bontorin, catches him with an uppercut, and Bontorin goes face first into the mat. And then Herb is like right there, and Kai Kara France did the walk off, kind of calling the end of the fight, and Herb stepped in. So I thought the fight was over, but then there was some confusion. So Kai Kara France runs back to throw another hit on him, and then Herb Dean's like, "Hey, back off."
Whoa, you're good.
Yeah, and then Bontorin throws his mouthpiece at him because he's upset. That's not the problem. I don't care about any of that. The dude won a fight with like 5 seconds left in the first round in a fight that he was getting dominated. I thought that was incredible. Also a city kickboxing fighter. I guess
I didn't watch any of these ones.
The early prelims. There's one. Tim Elliott got a big decision win against Jordan Espinosa. Total domination. Great fight by Tim Elliott. These light heavyweights were really sloppy. Kennedy Nzechukwu. I heard him say it once. I didn't like the fight. It was super boring, and both these guys got really tired. Sean Brady versus Jake Matthews. Jake looked really good. Brady hits really hard. He's better. Brady had better grappling, so that's that. Amanda Lemos, that fight was really bad. She ended up finishing her with a jab. Uros Medic knocking out Elan Cruz. That was pretty cool. It was really tight. He hit him with a right hook, like super tight in right hook. It was. You don't really see that at lightweight. That's like a heavyweight move. Where the DC like versus Stipe thing. Yep. Yeah, you don't see knockouts like that, or people getting rocked like that from tight hooks. And then Mark Smith let Medic land about, I don't know, 50 to 60 extra shots as Alan Cruz was like rolling around on the ground, clearly defenseless and doing barely enough to say that I'm still alive. Not great. And Trevin Jones getting the knockout against Bautista in the second round. Yeah. Overall takeaway on this card, what do you think?
Just, I don't know. There's just kind of a damper on the whole thing. It seemed like the UFC packed too many championship fights into one card that didn't need to happen altogether. And because of what went down, it just kind of, I don't want to say it spoiled the rest of the card, but it just kind of, that's what ended up dominating was.
Yeah, if one of these, if they split this up into 2 pay-per-views or let one of these title fights lead a fight night or something like that, or even another pay-per-view, I think it would have been better. Because now you end up with
Aljamain and Jan should have been their own pay-per-view.
Sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like you could have just taken them off this card, but 3 title fights in a row, all of which, well, the first one was good, but had an underwhelming finish. Second one was what everybody expected. And then the last one that ended was just, not.
No weight behind it.
Yeah, nothing. It meant nothing. So, I mean, there were some decent fights on the card. It was just let down. The last, let's see, 25 minutes plus the 3 minutes she fought, 28 minutes plus another 20 minutes. So 48 minutes of fighting. The last 48 minutes of fighting were it just felt like a big wet fart. Like, not great. Next weekend, the 13th, we have finally
Derek Brunson.
Brunson.
Am I one ahead? I'm one ahead.
You're
Leon Edwards. Whoops.
No, that's 2 weekends. Nah, this weekend, we finally have Leon Edwards getting a fight for the first time in his UFC career. No, he just hasn't fought in a very long time. He's fighting Bilal Muhammad, coming off of a fight, a few weeks ago. It's going to be interesting. If Bilal Muhammad wins this fight because Leon Edwards is rusty, it's going to be hard. Well, I'm saying it's going to be hard to deny him opportunity to fight for a belt or be in that discussion because right now, let's see, where is he ranked? Bilal Muhammad is currently ranked 13 and Leon Edwards is ranked number 3. And then I also believe Bilal Muhammad's coming off of quite a few wins in a row. I just confirmed that. I know we just looked this up because he just fought.
I know.
The 13th of last month.
But this is a big jump for him and a pretty big opportunity, so.
Oh, sorry, my sinuses are going crazy. Yeah, he's on a 4-fight win streak. Curtis Millender, Takashi Sato, Lyman Good, and Diego Lima. None of those being big names. But
good wins, though.
I mean, great wins. It's just going to be. This is a huge test for him, and it's also it's going to let us know if Leon Edwards is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good test for him.
Still fresh enough to just roll into another fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if Leon Edwards wins this, we got to be talking about Leon Edwards for the next championship fight.
See, that's the thing that sucks is, Colby's still there. We have Stephen Thompson that still needs to fight.
Somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to giving Leon, if he does win this, I wouldn't be opposed to giving him the title shot.
See, I think if Leon wins this,
depends on how he wins.
Yeah. If Leon wins this, I would give him the title shot and then have Colby and Wonder Boy fight.
Yes.
And have whoever wins that take the next one.
Mr. Nice versus Mr. Fake.
Freaking just throw it on the same card.
Misha Serkinov fighting Ryan Spann. Fun light heavyweight fight. Both guys can crack. We got Ben Rothwell still fighting for some reason against Philippe Lins, who's a younger fighter trying to make a name for himself. You got Dan 50K Ige fighting Gavin Tucker. Both these guys, Dan Ige's last fight, he shouldn't have got the loss, but so he should be 15-2. Fighting Gavin Tucker's 13-1. And then this means a lot for featherweight.
Yeah, and then another one of my favorite fighters.
Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. I don't know how Ashley Yoder wins this fight. I think we've talked about this because it was rescheduled. I don't know how Ashley Yoder wins this fight. You know, she wins she gets scrappy wins because, you know, she can get to the ground and kind of out-grapple people. She's like a wet noodle. I think I even used that exact analogy last time. Angela Hill has been on the wrong side of a lot of split decisions, but I think she gets it done, especially on the feet against Yoder. Yoder is not a clean striker, and Angela Hill is an excellent striker. So even if this went to the ground, I don't see how Yoder keeps her down there. Like, Hill's also very strong.
I concur.
Let's see. Don't know who they are. Eric Anders fighting. Darren Stewart. That dude needs a win. Courtney Casey, 9-8. God, the women's division. It's just, I don't understand.
What are you trying to say with that? I don't know. What?
It's just the fact that you have 50-50 fighters not coming off of a ton of wins. You know, it's one thing. It's just whatever.
I mean, it's still a growing, like, all the women's divisions are still very, very new compared to, I mean, take a look at some of the records for men's division fighters 15 years ago.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I get it. It's just she's also fighting at flyweight. So,
all right, that's fair.
well, yeah, what I'm saying is, like,
it's deep enough to where.
Nah, flyweight. Yeah, flyweight is just people who don't want to cut weight to straw weight and are too small for bantamweight, so they kind of just fall in that division, and then whenever they win enough, then they get to go up and be sacrificed to the Valentina. Mm-hmm. We got Nasrat Haqparast fighting Don Madge. I think this one was also rescheduled. That's mini Kelvin Gastelum. Aniyaya fighting Charles Jourdain. Not a lot of stank on this card.
Nope.
Main card is pretty good.
If Amanda Nunes was fighting at the top of this card.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Leon Edwards having the main event against Bilal Muhammad, I think that's fair. So I wouldn't want to necessarily take that away from them having a 5-round opportunity, especially being that Leon Edwards is
could be one away from a title shot.
But yeah, he's positioning himself to be next up for the title shot. Therefore, you know, giving a test to see if he can go 5 rounds if it does go that long against Bilal Muhammad, who is also trying to, you know, put his name in the hat to be in that upper echelon. If he gets a win here, he definitely jumps into the top 10, and then another win against another top 10 opponent or even a top 5 opponent. Obviously, you know, now he needs 2 wins. Leon Edwards just needs to get an impressive victory. If Leon Edwards barely squeaks by in this, I think a lot of people are going to be saying, like, Leon Edwards sucks. Even though Bilal Muhammad's excellent, I think, you know, the takeaway is going to be, Leon Edwards doesn't deserve the high AP, doesn't deserve that number 3, and I think he might even go down in rank if he doesn't win impressively this weekend.
Especially coming on the heels of Wonder Boy's very impressive last fight.
Dismantling of Jeff Neal. Yeah.
So
another top 10 ranked opponent. So this weekend does have title shot implications for one fighter immediately, and then for another fighter, maybe one more fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, That's it. We're gonna keep it short. Well, a little short, but yeah. That card was lackluster, and coming up, we don't have a lot going on this weekend, so
not a ton until we get to UFC 260.
Yeah, when's that one? There. So I mean, March 20th is pretty good because you got Gregor Gillespie fighting against. So that's good. UFC 260 is that's the big one. So Saturday the 27th of March, you got Stipe fighting Francis Alexander, Volkanovski fighting Brian Ortega for some reason. Tyron Woodley fighting Vicente Luque.
Interesting.
Whatever. Sean O'Malley, I hate that kid, fighting Thomas Almeida. I don't like him either. They're both cocky and Sean O'Malley is nothing but a crybaby. Jamie Malarkey, that's a funny name, versus Kama Worthy. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we got another fight night after the next fight night to talk about before we get in there. So,
but that's definitely one of the next cards I'm really looking forward to.
Me too.
Yep.
All right. Thank you everybody for listening.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions on how to take care of sinus issues because of allergies, I already take allergy medication and it doesn't seem to help all the time.
Do you do Flonase?
Tried that, doesn't work.
Oh, really?
I tried the saline solution. I've tried the stuff with the stimulant stuff in it. I've tried all of it and nothing. It's like a faucet, man. Just constantly running.
Have you tried moving to a different state?
I'm working on it. All right. Thank everybody for listening. Like I said, make sure to like and subscribe. As usual, if you made it this far, you're awesome. And keep holding out. Oh, yeah. I know everything isn't the easiest for everybody, but hey, we got, spring and summer coming up. So, and lots of good fights to look forward to.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Take care.
Have a great day.